AEW Blood and Guts, November 12th, 2025, was by far the best professional wrestling television show in 2025 this calendar year. There is not a Monday Night Raw. There's not a SmackDown. There's not an NXT. There's not a TNA, a AAA, a New Japan. Across the board, there is not a single show from 2025 that could hold a candle to what AEW produced last night, this past Wednesday, live in Greensboro, North Carolina. From start to finish, the best professional wrestling show that we have gotten all year. And it started right at the very tip top of the show, the very start of the show. So where we put the Attitude Era on such a pedestal, right? Because not just of Stone Cold and The Rock and so many other characters and individuals, but it was the introduction, the music, the pyro, the electricity, the explosions, like you were in a war zone. So where you watched that introduction, you saw how AEW went on the air on TBS, and you knew that for 2+ hours you were going to be entertained. You were going to get your money's worth. The women in their Blood and Guts match was phenomenal. No pun intended to AJ Styles. These ladies were tremendous to start this night off in this Blood and Guts matchup. So where you had a bed of nails, you had Mercedes use all of her championships, her 12 championships, to give to her allies as freaking weapons. You had Toni Storm legit had to pretty much call it a quits, had to surrender because her friend Mina Shirakawa was getting annihilated. She was locked in a submission hold by Marina Shafir while getting whipped by Megan Bayne with the TBS championship. And Toni Storm, she can only sit and watch. She's being held back by 4 other women. And she had no choice but to surrender, and the heel stood tall. This was such a damn good finish, man. And it only is going to benefit everybody involved. And even Hangman Adam Page, Powerhouse Hobbs. I had zero expectations for the match. I knew it was going to be decent, but how could you top off to what the ladies just did and what you're eventually going to see by the end of the show? Well, for the most part, these two also delivered as well in a Falls Count Anywhere match. The finish was so damn good. Will Hobbs freaking took a cowboy boot to his face. They're fighting on the staging area. He's free falling off the staging area through a freaking table, freaking pyro, electricity goes off. Such a damn freaking good finish. Hangman, of course, picks up the W, and you set up a steel cage match. You use the cage that you already have above the ring, and you utilize that to set up a steel cage match between Samoa Joe and Hangman Adam Page, man. So simple, but yet so damn effective at the same time. And you even had stuff in between the show, but outside of these matches, right? To where you had freaking the Young Bucks and the Don Callis family. They're all beating up on Jurassic Express backstage. A freaking camera is rushing over to the parking lot to where Jurassic Express is getting their ass whooped. Don Callis is freaking putting a whooping on them. And the Young Bucks, they come out of their freaking RV or whatever they were in, talking it up with Don Callis, trying to make a business relationship with the Don Callis family. The Young Bucks are down on their luck. They don't know who to turn to. They teased a Kenny Omega return for next week. So do the Young Bucks freaking reunite with Kenny Omega? It's possible, but so many good questions that come from segments like this that make you ask questions. Are the Young Bucks going to rejoin with Kenny Omega? Are they going to go in this direction? And you are just using utilities and resources that you have been given on a silver platter, giving us fans a variety of so many things that could cater to so many different demographics, but mainly for your 18 to 49 demo. You go to FTR, so where they're just freaking bullying, degrading, and embarrassing Ricky Steamboat. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was live in attendance, and he took the high road, man. He was like, "Hey, man, I don't want any trouble. You know, if this was several years ago, I'd tell you to freaking kick rocks. I tell you to kiss my ass. But I'm gonna leave the ring because I don't want no trouble. I know I'm much older, and I ain't gonna get into all of this, right?" But FTR whoops his ass anyway. They freaking attack freaking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat anyway. He's able to get help by Brody King, and Bandito, and even freaking Ricky Steamboat, man. He still got it with those chops, right? Before there was Ric Flair delivering chops to the chest, it was freaking Ricky Steamboat back in the day, man. Before Ric Flair made that famous, it was Ricky Steamboat, bro. If you know, you know. So much variety, a segment that uplifts Stokely, FTR, and it gives this tag feud a little bit of life, a little bit of pulse, just by, hey, let's make a phone call to Ricky Steamboat, man. Maybe he can uplift FTR for them to collect some heat, and it's going to help Brodito, right, freaking become more of the faces for them to get the crowd to be behind them. What a crazy concept, right? So much variety, so much good coming out of all of these segments. And then at the very end of the show, you have the men's War Games match, to where you had everything and pretty much anything in this match. Darby Allin is being who Darby Allin is. The Darby Allin we all know and love at this point, to where the dude is up on the staging area, he's up on a platform, and he gets freaking pushed off onto a freaking flaming table. You know, you had shears of glass. Even in the women's match, you had Megan Bayne chuck a steel chair into somebody's face that was freaking gnarly. You had a freaking mirror get shattered over the head of Tony Storm. And I know I'm backtracking here, but just keep up with me. We go back to the men's War Games match, man. You got freaking, again, flaming tables. You had freaking glass, shears of glass was brought into the equation because of Jon Moxley. And by the end of the freaking matchup, the tables turned, and it was ended up freaking going against Jon Moxley. Kyle O'Reilly taps out Jon Moxley onto that sheet of glass, man. It was such an epic and such a damn good finish to this match. And after the heels won their blood and guts matchup, the females, at the end of the night, you got that cultivating moment where the baby faces stand tall and they collect the W, man. And you were given moments, you were given electricity, you were given amplification, but most importantly, you were given effort. You were given actual effort. AEW has their issues, and I've addressed them. Brian has addressed them. But AEW gives you your money's worth. They make you put the phone down, put the remote down, and say, "Wow, man, I gotta watch to see what happens, man," because how the intro music and the pyro, how the freaking show started once the show aired on TBS, the women and all the spots and what they did. And was it ugly? Yeah, there was times to where there were certain table spots to where the table just didn't want to break. Same goes for the men. You know, with chaos and to that sort of degree, you know, it comes with the territory. You know, it's unfortunate. But all of these people, man, were able to still make this work for what it was. And this is the effort. This is the amplification. This is the pulse. This is the energy that we want a certain billion-dollar conglomerate company to put in this same sort of category, in this same sort of effort. But instead, we get a billion-dollar conglomerate company to just cater to all the people live in attendance and all of the parents, the toddlers, the babies, and we'll sing along and dance around like it's a fucking Chuck E. Cheese. But with AEW, man, they tell us to say, hey, kick back, relax, and we're going to give you an entertaining show for 2+ hours. It's going to make sense. It's going to be captivating. It's going to be amplified. It's going to be electric. And you're going to want to watch next week for what we have in store the following week, man. That's what professional wrestling is, man. And listen, if you're not a fan of the Young Bucks, if you're not a fan of Mercedes Moné, you're not a fan of Darby Allin, I hear you, man. Right? That's your personal preference. If you don't like those people, because of them getting a certain push or whatever the case may be, I hear you, man. And I can't take that away from you. But what you can't deny is that AEW is doing everything that we have been screaming for WWE to do, which is to give us our money's worth and to put in effort. And they're doing neither of them. And that's what it comes down to. While WWE is too busy catering to the kids, the toddlers, the parents to sing along like it's a freaking Chuck E. Cheese or a Five Nights at Freddy's, you have AEW, man, with that type of spark, electricity. It's everything or to the same sort of vibe that people latched onto the Attitude Era, WCW Monday Nitro. That same sort of vibe. I'm not saying or putting that in the same category as far as consistent storytelling and television. It's these sort of shows that us wrestling fans need, because the more that AEW succeeds, the more that fans latch on to the AEW product, the more that they look over to AEW, because damn, WWE's not giving us anything, but the AEW, Tony Khan, man, they're giving us everything that we've been looking for with Triple H and WWE, but we're just not getting it. So say what you want about AEW, man, and some of the spots that they do, the botches that they may have, and again, they're not perfect. They've been doing this now for 6 some odd years. I agree that they have a lot of issues. They've lost nearly half of their audience. They've had to move into smaller venues. They have a lot of issues, man. But AEW, since making all of these corrections, moving into smaller venues, cleaning up the small things, and amplifying and truly emphasizing the minor things that are not so minor when it comes to a good professional wrestling television show. And that is the difference right now between a WWE and an AEW right now. Is that AEW is doing more of the little things right than WWE. AEW is putting in the energy, the effort, rather than Triple H and his narcissistic bullshit, thinking that, we got nothing to prove. We're WWE, right? We're the head honcho. We're professional wrestling. We're at the cream of the crop. There's nobody competing with us. We got nothing to prove. Our backs are not up against the wall. But now you look over to AEW, man, and I just hope that this is the start to where a lot of people give a lot more attention and chances for AEW to succeed. Because the more that AEW succeeds, the more it puts WWE, their backs are up against the wall to truly put on better television. Competition is what's going to truly make professional wrestling great again. So thank you to AEW. Salute to Tony Khan for actually giving us our money's worth. Thank you for giving us a show that doesn't feel like a chore. Thank you for giving us a show to where we can just sit down and watch and be captivated. And that's what I watch for, man. I don't watch just to enjoy it. I watch because I want to be captivated. If I'm not captivated, I'm going to let you know I'm not captivated. So from start to finish, man, there is not a show across the board that we have been given in 2025 that could lace the boots of what AEW Blood and Guts, November 12th, 2025, delivered last night, this past Wednesday. With the amount of variety, the energy, the amplification, the intro to when this show aired on TBS at the very start of the show. AEW does so many things correctly, and I truly hope that people see it, and I truly hope that AEW continues to build from this, because the more that AEW can build momentum and steam, it's going to benefit all of us professional wrestling fans involved. And it's going to put WWE and their backs up against the wall to actually put on creative television. And when there's competition, when we feel like our backs are up against the wall and we have to produce something entertaining, something as far as an energy and a pulse, that's where it benefits us. And that's why, man, I'm so sick of all of this tribalism, all of this back and forth of who's the better company, who's this, who's that. Doesn't fucking matter, man. It's not just AEW. It's not just WWE. It's every single wrestling promotion out there. MLW, New Japan, AAA, TNA, to bring the best out of one another. That's what it's about. Everything in this show is what I've been screaming for WWE to deliver. To give us shit that makes sense, to give us good storytelling, to give us entertaining segments, a pulse, energy, and a show that you put pen to paper that has love, and you're putting fun and just, you're all into it. And it sucks, man, that now WWE is just under this certain mindset, this regime that's aware no matter what, fans are going to watch the product, so let's give them the bare minimum every single week. And that's why, man, it is so important for all of you, man, that think that AEW just sucks and they're the worst thing on television. Bullshit, man. It's fucking bullshit. If you put bias aside, if you put the subjective takes aside, AEW is delivering a lot of good things right now. A lot. And hopefully their numbers will start to show it. Because they have lost half of their audience. They have had to move in smaller venues. But now more than ever, because of how piss poor WWE is, now more than ever, you're seeing the little things that AEW is doing right. And people are catching on to it. And the more that people catch on, the more people are going to say, hey, man, AEW, they're giving us everything that we've been wanting WWE to give us, man. People are going to catch on. And I hope that Tony Khan sees that, understands that. He picks up the ball and he runs straight into the end zone with it. Will he do that? Time will only tell. AEW Blood and Guts, man. The best show in 2025. The best professional wrestling show across the board in 2025 this calendar year. And it's not even close. Salute to AEW. Salute to Tony Khan. Salute to all of these performers this past Wednesday, to where there was a lot of miscommunication. There was a lot of unfortunate spots, but all of these people, guys and gals, busted their ass. And I can objectively say, man, that this was a damn good show. And I truly hope that this is just the beginning for AEW. Will it? Debatable. That this is going to take them to the promised land. There's still a lot of kinks and there's still a lot of issues that AEW needs to fix. But hey, man, after what we saw last night, this past Wednesday, it's a start. Appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, I'm signing off. Thanks, salute. Peace out. Take care, everybody.